Hello again, and thanks for watching. This demonstration comes from Roto-Disc and illustrates the disassembly-reassembly process for the Roto-Clean sanitary valve. It will also show the seat replacement and adjustment process. As always, when working on any Roto-Disc valve, ensure that the controls are disconnected from any air or electric supply lines and that there is nothing that could inadvertently cause the valve to rotate. Safety is always paramount. The valve we're demonstrating today is a 4-inch Roto-Clean valve with ferrule or tri-clamp connections. Here we see the valve body, this is the dome, and this is the seat retainer inlet. On the sides of the valve we see the shaft retaining plates. To disassemble the valve, start by loosening the thumb nuts that mount the actuator bracket to the bracket boss. With the nuts removed, slide off the actuator and actuator bracket from the mounting studs on the valve body. Now, remove the coupling from the actuator drive shaft, also known as the A-side shaft, and then the shaft retaining plate. When this is complete, remove the thumb nuts and shaft retaining plate from the other side of the valve, also known as the B side. Now, remove the thrust washers from the shafts. These washers align the dome and the seat to the valve body. Next, remove the main body clamp. With the clamp removed, you can remove the seat retainer inlet to expose the seat. Rotate the dome slightly to provide a surface to grab onto and pull out the seat. With the seat removed, you can see the wafer-thin shims that sit underneath the seat. These shims are used to attain the proper seat compression or setting. We'll talk more about these later in this demonstration, but for now, just remove the shims. With the retaining plates, body clamp, and seat retainer inlet piece removed, the shafts and dome are free to be taken out of the valve body. Start by supporting the dome with your hand to allow the shafts to slide out more easily. Once the shafts are removed, you can take out the dome. If necessary, the bushings may be removed by pushing them out from inside the valve. To reassemble the valve, all the disassembly steps are going to be performed in reverse. Start by pressing in the bushings, then by placing the dome inside the valve body. Next, insert the shafts through the bushings and into the square holes in the dome. You may want to turn the valve on its side or upside down to make this process easier. And if necessary, lubricate the shafts before reassembling. With the shafts inserted to the dome, reinstall the thrust washers and shaft retaining plates on both sides of the valve and tighten the thumb nuts. Now let's take a moment to discuss the seat replacement and adjustment process. If you're only trying to replace or readjust the seat, you would not have to remove the actuator, but of course you would need to make sure the pneumatic and electric supply lines are disconnected. Never work on the valve with the actuator connected to a compressed air source. To install the existing or new seat, all that is typically needed is to install the shims and then the seat. In some instances, you may find that a shim or two would need to be added or removed to attain the proper seat compression. Adding shims will reduce compression, and removing shims will increase compression. Start by installing the new seat over the existing shim arrangement and then testing the valve after reassembly. The number of shims used varies slightly from valve to valve, but will normally be around 26 thousandths of an inch, made up from shims in various thicknesses. They are not a wearing part and typically do not have to be replaced, but you may want to keep a spare shim pack in stock in case any are misplaced. Seats are commonly sold with a set of shims as a kit, but they can also be sold separately. In instances where a quick fix is needed for a worn seat, the sealing surface can be improved by simply taking an abrasive pad, such as a fine grit sandpaper or emery paper, and rubbing it along the sealing surface. When doing this, make sure that an equal amount is removed on all areas of the sealing surface rather than just where the wear is evident, so as to avoid creating a gap in one area of the seat. With the seat installed, place the seat retainer inlet over the seat and install the body clamp. Tighten the clamp and then stroke test the valve. If you find there's too little compression, then remove a shim. If there's too much compression, then add a shim. You can also affect the seat compression by tightening or loosening the body clamp. A properly shimmed valve will be able to hold water at the inlet and will offer the most resistance at the beginning and end of the stroke. Once the valve is properly calibrated, then remove the A-side thumb nuts and install the coupling and then the actuator assembly. Finally, reinstall and tighten the thumb nuts. Now the valve is fully assembled and ready to go back into service. Thanks for watching.